Up next, I would like to talk about the different data types and different data structures. So, if you're a programmer, then you should be pretty familiar with a lot of these data types here. But in case you're not, I'm going to go over each one by one and talk a little bit about them. So first off, we have the string. What a string is basically a sequence of characters. So hi there with a space and exclamation mark inside of double quotes is a string. Usually, you like to use double quotes to specify the beginning and the end of a string like this. A Boolean is a true or false, so it is either one or the other. And then we have the integer, which can be positive or negative, but has no decimal points. Um, Typically, there is a upper bound and a lower bound of how big or small your integer can be based on your machine architecture. And then next we have the uint, which is a very specific solidity data type. And this one is the same as an integer. However, you have only positive numbers. And the reason why you would do something like this is to, limit the bound of what your variable can be. So if your number can only be positive, then you want to use this type so that in the case that you get a result for a negative number, then it would throw an error. There are other uints out there, such as uint 256, uint 8, and this is to save data storage inside of your computer. However, to simplify things, I'm just going to use uint for now. And then next up, we have the fixed and ufixed, which is simply being able to do decimal points. And then lastly, we have an address, which is also only in Solidity. And this is to get the address of the user's blockchain account. So here we assume every user inside our network has a account with certain amounts of money in there, and the address is a long hashed out value as a UID for each user. Then next we have the data structures. So using for Solidity, the four data structures that you are allowed to use to create variables are fixed arrays and dynamic arrays, mapping, and structs. Fixed arrays are basically arrays where you can have a specific type tied to it. So in our example, we have an integer array and we fixed it to a length of 3. So your array basically has 3 numbers in there. You can also do a Boolean array, and this one has 2 values in there, and then so on. A dynamic array is basically an array that can change in size. So you just specify the data type of your array, and then you can add to it and you can remove from it. The size will be constantly changing. Next up, we have a mapping. If you are familiar with JavaScript, it's similar to objects. If you are, just a computer scientist major, then this is very similar to a hash map. Um, Basically, you have a key and a value for each item. So some benefits of this is you can use as long as you know what the key is, the computer will in the background find the data that you're looking for and relatively quickly. So instead of using an array and then doing a for loop to understand or to loop through every single value, uh, a map lookup is a much more efficient way to do that. And finally, we have a struct, which is basically an object that you can create that has many different um, data types or data values inside. So in this example, we have a structure, a struct of a car, and then inside the car we have different strings in there, and we have uint values in there.